Good morning, everyone. I am Teacher Jarrett, and this week we are talking about how animals help each other. So today we have a story that is nonfiction. The genre of the story is nonfiction. And our essential question that we have been talking about this week is, how do animals help each other? So today we will read about how some fish help each other. Okay, if you remember last time, we talked about teams of animals, right? And there were fish and shrimp, and birds and big animals, and ants and caterpillars. But today we are going to talk about fish. Okay. So the title of this story is A Team of Fish. Okay, we can see here's all the fish. They're on a team together. All right? Okay, so let's start reading our story. Fish swim in lakes and creeks. Fish swim in deep blue seas or oceans. Let's dive into the water. Let's look at fish. So if you remember, we learned this word blue, right? Blue is a color, and it's this color right here, the color of the water. And we also learned the word or, right? That means one of two choices, okay? Or it could be one of three choices or four choices. But in this case, it's one of two choices. So it says seas or oceans. So what this is saying is or is saying that the fish can live either in the sea, which is one place, or the oceans, which is another place. So they could live in the sea or the ocean. Okay, so let's dive into the water. So into means to go inside something, right? So we're going inside the ocean, inside the water. We're going to go into the water. Okay. Fish can swim alone. Fish can swim with a partner. And remember, we said a partner is like a team member or a teammate, right? Someone who helps you. Fish can swim in a bunch, too. A bunch of fish is called a school. So fish can swim alone or with someone else, one other fish, a partner, or they might swim in a big group of fish. And if they do that, it's called a school. A school has lots of fish. They are a team. The fish help each other. They look for food together. So remember we said other is something that's not you. So maybe another other people or another fish. So when we say the fish help each other, that means the fish helps the fish in his school or the fish in his team. And those fish help him or her. So we can see the fish are here looking for food together, right? Fish eat lots of things. Some fish eat small animals. Some fish eat other fish. These catfish eat together for safety. So we can see, we learned the word small, right? Small is the opposite of large. So small means something that's tiny and not big. Okay? You can see these fish are eating off of the ground floor, and they travel together for safety. Because if they're all together, it's harder for a big fish to come and attack them and eat them. Oh, this is what we were talking about. It can be unsafe to swim alone. What is the chief reason? Danger! A fish can get snapped up, but a fish can hide in a school. So remember, we said danger is a word to describe something that can hurt you or create damage or harm you. So when they swim in a school, the reason it's unsafe to swim alone is that a big fish could come and get the little fish. But if the fish are in a school, they can be safer. Let's see how that works. Fish in a school have a neat trick. The fish swim close together. Big fish will not mess with them because they look like one huge fish. So remember, we said the word because is a word to show cause and effect. So the fish will not mess with them. That means the fish will not attack the school of fish. And why is that? The reason, we can say because, the reason is they, the little fish, look like one huge fish. Okay? These crescent-tail big-eye fish swim in a school to fool big fish. Here they're swimming in a big school. Okay? So let's go to the next page. This big fish wants to eat, but it stays away. The school looks like a huge fish that may eat him. Fish in a school keep each other safe. A school is a good place for a fish to be. Hundreds of barracudas fish swim in a school together. So we can see that all the fish, when they swim together, look like one big fish, right? And so maybe you have seen movies too, where it shows fish, and the fish all swim in a school. They swim together, and they can make different shapes sometimes, but they look like a big fish, right? And so if the other fish is this big, but in the fish in the school, if the other fish is this big, and the other fish in the school are only this big, then the big fish can eat them, right? But if you take all the little fish in this that are this big, and you get a lot of them, right? Then you might look like you're a fish that's this big, right? Because it's made up of a lot of little fish. And so the big fish swims and sees that, and he swims away because he's afraid that this could be a big fish that might eat him, right? Yeah. So let's go. Oh, that was all of our story. So we learned about how fish stay in schools, right? Okay, so let's make connections. How can fish help each other? So we learned that when fish are in schools together, they can help each other, right? We also learned, these are all fish that are the same, right? These fish are all the same in the school. But we learned last time that some fish can help other fish that are different, right? Like the little cleaner fish can go up and clean the big fish, right? And so that's also two fish that are helping each other. But it's not a school of fish. So there are many ways for fish to help each other. Today we just learned about how fish can help each other by being in a group. Okay? So now let's read about comprehension. The main idea and key details. The main idea is what the selection is mostly about. Key details give information about the main idea. So we talked yesterday about the main idea, right? And the main idea was that animals can be in teams, right? And the key details give information about the main idea. And so the key details yesterday explained what animals can be in teams, right? And so today we learned the main idea was a team of fish, right? And so we learned how fish can help each other. So that's the main idea. And so then the key details tell us how when the fish are in a school, they can look for food together, right? That's one way they help each other. Another way is they can keep each other safe. So if there's lots of fish eating together, then a bigger fish probably won't come and try to eat the catfish, for example, right? So now let's find text evidence. Find a detail about how fish in a school help each other. Okay, so on page 42, we saw a school has lots of fish. They are a team. The fish help each other. They look for food together. Okay, so we see that the fish help each other and that they look for food together. So that is how we can see, let me get this. So we can see that the main idea will be in blue, okay? And the key details will be in green. So we can see that the main idea is that the fish help each other, right? So we don't know how the fish can help each other though. So we need to see a key detail. And a key detail is that they look for food together, right? So we can see the main idea in this sentence, and we can also see the key detail. So when we write stories, we usually have one main idea, right? That's the main idea. That's the whole reason we're writing the story. And then all of the information underneath or in our story goes underneath that main detail, okay? So if you want to talk about bugs, you can talk about maybe bugs in the forest, right? So that's the main idea. So when you talk about the key details in that story, you will talk about ants in the forest, or butterflies in the forest, or beetles in the forest, right? If your main idea is bugs in the forest, you will not talk about bugs in the ocean, right? Or fish in the lake, right? That's not a good detail for that main idea. Okay? Okay. Let's go to our next page. So our next page is going to, this is usually what we do by ourselves in the retell the story section, right? But today, the story gave us the answer already. So they made the chart, and it's a main idea and key detail chart. Okay? So let's look at the main idea. The main idea is fish in a school help each other. So now all of our details should talk about how fish in a school can help each other. So our detail 1, our first detail says, the fish look for food together. So that's one way that fish in a school help each other, right? So that's our first detail. Now let's look at our next detail. The fish keep each other safe. So that's our second detail, right? So the fish are in a school and they help each other. And they help each other by keeping each other safe, right? So that's a good detail. Now let's look at another detail. They help keep big fish away. So another way that fish in a school help each other are that they keep big fish away. So do you understand now that the main idea is a big general topic or a general idea? And then the details are specific examples that explain that main idea, right? So if fish in a school help each other is our main idea, should we expect to see a key detail about dogs? No, no, we shouldn't talk about dogs if the fish in a school help each other is our main idea, right? Should we expect to talk about trees? No, we won't talk about trees. That's not relating to the fish in a school helping each other. But maybe, if this is our main idea, maybe we might talk about some of the animals that like to eat the fish, right? So we can see here, this big fish wants to eat, but it stays away. The school looks like a huge fish that may eat him, right? And so it did talk about a big fish, right, in the story. But, see, here's the big fish. But the reason they talked about the big fish was because they were explaining how big fish are afraid of schools of fish, right? So that could be another detail. Okay, so now your turn. Talk about the main idea and details in a team of fish. So we already did that just now, right? Yeah, good. So let's go to our next page. Writing and grammar. Readers 2. Organization. Lee introduced the topic of his report first. Lee's report. Ants work as a team. Each ant has a job. The queen lays eggs. Other ants get food. Ants have many ways to get their jobs done. Okay, so now we should have a main idea, right? So is this our main idea? Ants have many ways to get their jobs done? No. Our main idea is usually the very first sentence in a report. Not always, but usually. Okay? So the main idea is that ants work as a team. So this is the main idea, right? Main idea. Now we can talk about the details. So the ants work as a team. So how do the ants work as a team? So we can see that each ant has a job, okay? We can see when he says the queen lays eggs, that's another detail. He also says other ants get food. That's another detail, right? So 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3 details. Ants have many ways to get their jobs done. So this is similar to the story we just read, right? Start with the main idea, and then you give examples or key details to explain your main idea. So the first example or first detail is that every ant has a job, right? So if every ant has a job, that means that they must be a team, right? Because in a team, everyone does 1 or 2 things, right? If you didn't have a team, then one person would do everything, maybe 10 things, right? Finding food, making the house, laying eggs, all of those things. But for ants, one ant has one job. So maybe he's responsible for digging the holes, or maybe he's responsible for finding food, or if you're the queen, you're responsible for laying eggs, right? So our second detail is that the queen lays eggs. So now after he says that they have jobs, we know it's in a team, every person or member has a job. He tells us some of the jobs. One job is the queen who lays eggs. Another job is that the ants have to get food. And he says ants have many ways to get their jobs done. So sometimes ants might climb a tree to get food. Sometimes they might dig a hole to get food. Sometimes they might just walk on the ground and pick up food, right? Yeah. So now it says your turn. Tell how Lee organized his report. So we already did that just now, right? We had the main idea, and then these are the details. Key details. Okay, so let's erase this and go to our next page. Erase this. Okay. Next page. This is our last page for the day. Okay. So let's talk about writers. Have and has. Use has to tell about one person or thing. Use have to tell about more than one person or thing. So we can see so we'll underline has with red, and we'll underline have with blue. Okay, so has is right here, and have is right there, right? So each ant has a job. So here, there's no S, right? So it's one ant. Each ant means one ant has one job. And so that's why we use the word has. Now, if we look at the next sentence, we see that it says ants, which means there's more than one. We have an S. Ants have many ways to get their jobs done. So because he's talking about more than one ant, he said ants, we use the word have, okay? Now it says your turn. Look at the sentences above from Lee's report. Do they tell about one or more than one? So let's go up to the report. So the red can be for one, right? And the blue we can say is 2, 3, 4, ... right? So red is for one, and blue is for 2, 3, 4, 5, more than one, basically. Okay. We can look at the sentences now. So he says ants work as a team. So that's more than one. That's plural. And then he says each ant has a job. So if he says each ant, that is singular. Okay. And then he says the queen lays eggs. So queen is just one queen, right? Because there's no S here. And then he says other ants get food. So we see an S here, right? So we know that it's more than one. And then in the last sentence is ants have many ways to get their jobs done. So we can see this is an S here too, right? So he has 3 words that are plural, more than one, and he has 2 words that are singular, so only one, right? So we saw that he had 3 words that talk about more than one, and 2 times when he just talked about one. Okay, now let's go to our last exercise for the day. Erase this. Okay, so it's telling us that write a new sentence with has, write a new sentence with have. So let's see. One example of using the word has is my friend has a pink backpack, right? So that's one example of using has, because you say my friend, right? No S, just one friend has a pink backpack. Now let's think of another way you can say has. You can say my, oh, you can say my teacher has black hair, right? So my teacher, there's only one teacher, has black hair. So now we can use the word have, right? We can say many teachers at my school have black hair, right? So now we see that we said many teachers. So teachers has an S at the end of it. So that means there's more than one, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, right? And so when we say many teachers at my school have black hair, that means that there's more than one teacher at your school that has black hair. So many teachers have black hair, right? Okay, let's write one more sentence. The most of my friends have a lot of work to do. So another example you can say is that most of my friends, or you can say all of my friends. All of my friends have a lot of homework to do after school. So we say all of your friends. So that means all of the friends that you have. So maybe 10, or maybe 5, or maybe 3, or maybe 20, right? That means that all of your friends have a lot of homework to do after school. So we use the word have here because the subject, friends, is plural, right? All right, so we're talking about more than one thing or one person when we say all of my friends. Okay, so those are the examples we're going to do for today. So you can take some time today after we're done and practice using has and have. Okay, and when you go out to the store, if you see fish at the store, you can look at the fish and see if they are together in schools or if they swim alone, right? Okay, so that is all we have for today. So now it's time for me to say bye-bye. Okay, we learned a lot today about animals and how they help other animals. And tomorrow we will learn even more. We'll talk more about animals, okay? So today, when you go and walk around, look for animals helping other animals. And if you can, and if your mother and your father say it's okay, maybe you can help someone too. You can help your grandmother, or you can help a friend, okay? And we can all be helpful together. So now I will say bye-bye, but I will see you next time, okay? Bye-bye.